I don't know. I guess I never really expected it after I had already started experiencing perimenopause symptoms. Hello, everyone. My name is Summer, and if you're new here, I make content about pregnancy, perimenopause, fitness, running, nutrition. I am a certified nutrition coach, and just being a mom. That's the gist. So if you're into that sort of thing, definitely like and subscribe. I am out of breath. That was one of my first symptoms, for sure. But yeah, like I said, like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. So, perimenopause, for context, I am 43 years old, and it actually started happening definitely earlier than I knew. So, perimenopause um, started kind of creeping into my life, and I didn't know that that's what it was because there's really not much information, I feel, for women that are kind of entering that decade before actual menopause commences. So, um, actual menopause is the definition is a cease of menstruation for 1 year. So after that happens, you are technically you have been in menopause. So I didn't know, but a decade, sometimes more, leading up to that, you start having these hormonal fluctuations that are um, definitely life altering, I would say. And a lot of people are just like, oh, just getting older, or, oh, my cycle's been wonky, whatever. Uh, but it's an actual thing that is so it's such a pivotal time in our lives as women, and I just want to kind of make the world aware that, like, and of course, like, if I even reach one person, that would be amazing. The world would be awesome, but I'm just shooting for one person. I just want to make women aware, and men, because it's something that can affect an entire family. It is so life altering. And I do apologize. I get very out of breath when I talk. That is just a pregnancy symptom that I've always had from the very beginning. So, yeah, like I said, my cycles started getting kind of wonky like about a year ago. They started getting shorter, I noticed. So, like around 42, they started getting shorter. My periods, um, so I have a 2 year old, and once I was done breastfeeding with him, my period came back. I'm one of those where, like, if I'm breastfeeding, my cycle is just not non existent. So once it came back, I was like, oh, it's just my cycle coming back. Of course, it's going to be a little off. Um, But then, quite a few cycles in, they just never returned to this, like, cyclical, something I can count on thing. It was just kind of sloppy, and like the days were like 27 days, sometimes 31 days, sometimes 24 days. Sometimes the bleeding part would last for like 4 days, sometimes three. Sometimes I would spot for 3 days and then bleed for two, just all over the place. And for me, that was just really frustrating and weird. And then I would get the night sweats. And, all of this is due to dropping estrogen levels. And it's so funny because that's exactly about the time when you start realizing, like, oh, a facelift might not be a bad idea. No, I'm just kidding. I would not do a facelift right now, although I'm not against it. But I'm just saying, like, you really start noticing that drop in estrogen, which then creates this drop in, your connective tissues. Remember, estrogen is a super anti-inflammatory hormone for women. Um, and then just like all your other hormones are so affected, obviously, because hormones are everything. So basically, like your hypothalamus is just really struggling. It's getting older, you're getting older. It's just these hormone cascades are not happening as smoothly as they used to be. The signal from your hypothalamus to your other glands and organs it's just not running as smoothly. And you can certainly feel it. So after I did a ton of research and figured out what was going on, I actually got some estrogen cream. I actually wanted to go on like estrogen therapy, but uh, that is quite a struggle. In Nevada, where I live, I don't know how it is for the rest of the world or the rest of our nation, but it is really difficult to get hormone supplementation. So yeah, they gave me some cream. They were like, "Here you go. This will be good." And I did use it, and it is wonderful. It definitely helped. It's an estrogen vaginal cream, and it definitely helped with my urinary incontinence that was kind of left over from my second vaginal birth. So it's interesting because just simply supplementing with estrogen down there like really helped with everything. So I actually just thought, like, okay, my hormones are everywhere. I still kept track of my cycle, but um, I kind of was under the impression that it was going to be a lot harder for me to get pregnant. My husband and I tracked for our other two, and keep in mind, I had both of my babies very late in life. My first was born at 40, and my second was born at 40 one 42, 40, something like that. I don't know how old I was, but and I'm now 43, so, and I'm pregnant again. So I guess it I didn't really expect to need to have to track as um stringent as I had in the past for some reason. I don't know. Silly me. But my husband and I were talking about maybe just one more. And I was really concerned because I had really started noticing these perimenopause symptoms. And um I was I was just kind of like, in the back of my mind, it was like, oh my gosh, am I even going to be able to conceive? So, anyway, fast forward to trying to have another baby. The night that we conceived, and I know exactly the night, apparently I ovulated according to my app 2 days later. But I did have the egg white cervical mucus. It just wasn't as prevalent as when I ovulate. And but according to all of the research that I've done, uh, a sperm cell can exist in your uterus for up to 5 days. I suppose that's what did happen. About, I would say, a week and a half after we conceived, I started having hot flashes. And I was like, okay, well, this is normal. I'm in perimenopause. And then they continued pretty strong. And I was just like, oh gosh, this sucks. And then I had the insomnia, which is also associated with perimenopause. And I was like, okay, no surprise. And then my breasts, that was the telltale sign for me. the breast tenderness, but not, let me rephrase that. The feeling, if you've ever breastfed, of milk dropping, I had that quite a few times. And I was like, that's not normal before my period. So let me test. And I tested, and it was negative. And this was over 8 days past ovulation. And when I tested 8 days past ovulation with my other two, I got pretty strong positives. This one was negative. So I was like, okay, not pregnant. Then my period didn't come. And I was still not surprised because my period was all over the place. And then it still didn't come. And I was like, okay, let's take another test because I had a bunch still left over from uh my 2-year-old when I got pregnant with him. It's just like an Amazon package of HCG tests. I'll have them linked below. I'm not an Amazon affiliate, so yeah, I tested and I got a faint line. And I was like, no way. No way, Jose. This must be like an evaporation line. So I had my husband go buy a first response since I think the level of HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin hormone, is I think the first response are like the most sensitive, and it came back with a pretty prevalent line. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But I was concerned because with my other two, I had pretty strong lines pretty early. This pregnancy is completely different than my other two. I had terrible nausea with the other two, and I don't have it this time. Um, I I do know that that doesn't mean like a different gender. It just every pregnancy is different. I just want to make a clear note that this is my personal experience. I am not giving medical advice. And if this video triggers you, I do apologize. I did give you a warning in the first part of the video. So here we are, pregnant and trying to continue to run. For those of you that don't know, I was planning on training to run an ultra marathon, and that is how this whole channel started. And now that's definitely put on pause. So I guess I just wanted to make this video to exemplify that nothing is impossible. Women, we get older and we enter perimenopause, and it is a real thing and it is a real struggle. But it's certainly not impossible to conceive, and it's so beautiful. I feel stronger and more resilient now than I did even in my younger years, like my 20s and early 30s. And I don't know, maybe that's why I had my children later in life. I just, as I got older, you get into your ways and you learn your body and you become more cognizant of everything that's going on and how things affect you. And in my opinion, I'm definitely healthier now than I was when I was younger. I do not consume alcohol. I sleep really well. Um, I eat, fairly healthy. I kind of follow the 80-20 rule. I definitely let myself have In and Out and McDonald's French fries. But for the most part, I like wholesome, real food. And I make sure to take the supplements that make me feel my best. And just, make sure that I treat myself the best that I possibly can. And if you would like to follow along on my pregnancy journey, I would love to have you along. Like I said, please like and subscribe and comment if you have any questions. I would love to interact with everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for my next video.